Today, I'm going to be taking this old diamond tennis bracelet and giving it a new look. This is kind of a dated style, and we want to do something a little bit more modern. The first thing I'm going to do is pop out all the diamonds. I'll do this from the underside. I like to use an old burr or something like that, and then with my other hand I'll take a hammer and just punch the diamond out. This method doesn't work with every scenario, but with this tennis bracelet, the diamonds are actually only being held together by two little prongs, so they pop out quite easily. I'll work my way down the bracelet, removing each diamond one by one until they're all gone. I'll collect the diamonds and keep them in this tray for now. Now we're going to jump into the new design. I made it in CAD, and what we were really going for here is a sleek and modern design, basically a link-style bracelet. There are two different parts to this bracelet. First I have the longer links, and then the links that hold the diamonds themselves. I first build out the links individually, and then they can easily be duplicated. We can kind of get a sense here on how the bracelet will look before it's even made. That's the really cool thing about doing it in CAD first. These links in the CAD file will be 3D printed, and then they'll be molded. At that point, they'll be replicated using a wax injector. A wax injector is perfect for replicating a piece of jewelry, in this case, many links that will be used for the new bracelet. The material I use is this castable injection wax. It goes on the inside of the wax injector, where it's melted down. Wax chips are then dropped down into the heated wax injector. Think of the process like this. This wax chip is melted down and then injected into a mold. Each mold has a different shape. In this case, we'll be using a mold that has link shapes, the ones that I created in CAD. Once the wax takes its new shape, those links are sprued up, invested, and then cast in gold. I'll then place the top back on the wax injector. These are the 3D printed links, and this is the mold. We'll be covering how to mold objects in a future video, but for now just know that the mold will take on any shape that you put in it. These plates are used to hold the mold in place while you inject the wax. The wax is really hot, so you want to make sure it doesn't get on your hands or burn you in any way. Kind of like this, actually. Yes, I burned my hands. It did not feel good. So always use those metal plates when you're doing wax injection. To inject the wax, I'll bring the mold up to this nozzle and I'll press in. This wax injector is hooked up to an air compressor. That aids the process of shooting the wax down into the mold. This injection process will be done over a few times to make sure I have enough links. There are two different molds. One mold has the long, skinny links, and the other mold has the links that have the diamonds in them. Each mold will be injected numerous times until I have the desirable amount of links I need for the project. Let's open up one of these wax injections and see what it looks like. I'll remove the plates, peel back the mold, and make sure the wax is injected perfectly. You can see 3 distinct links here, each with their own individual sprues. Jumping forward a bit, those waxes are all cast into individual gold links. I made sure to cast the exact amount of links I needed to achieve the desired length, in this case about 6¼ inches. Now it's time to link the links together. I'll do this by cutting open one end of each of the long links. At that point, I'll take the cut open link and I'll run it through the diamond link. I'll open up each side of the long links and then slide in the diamond links, connecting each one individually. I'll repeat this process until the chain itself starts to take shape. After the links have all been attached, it's time to make the ends. In order to do this, I'll make some O-rings out of gold wire. The O-rings are first bent in a circular shape, and then cut through to make each individual O-ring. The O-rings will then be closed up using pliers. At that point, they'll be held in the soldering tweezers and soldered together to make one continuous O-ring. In order to make the O-rings better match, I want to oval them out. These O-rings are links that are distinctively different than the links I cast previously. That's because these links will be on the ends of the bracelet. These O-rings will be used for the clasp, essentially. My favorite type of clasp to use for a link bracelet is a swivel lobster clasp. I'll be attaching that to the O-ring. This O-ring will then be closed up, soldered together, and added to the end of our bracelet. Things are starting to come together nicely. The bracelet is taking shape, and you can see how that oval looks better than just a round O-ring. Now for the other side, I'll be attaching the other oval O-ring and closing up the end. When it's all said and done, the swivel lobster clasp can attach to the other O-ring, thus completing the circle and completing the bracelet. We need to make sure we don't forget one very important step though. Although the bracelet has been assembled, all of the links have not been soldered closed. In order to do this, I'll take some solder sheet and cut small little sections that I can use to flow into the links. These solder chips are then put on my soldering block. When the flame is applied, they ball up and I can grab them with my soldering pick. I'll then run that solder right through the end of the link, thus closing it up. I'll repeat this process for each individual link. I want to make sure I'm nice and thorough during this part, because if I miss even one link, the bracelet can fall off of a customer's wrist and be lost. Now that the links are all soldered together, it's time to set the diamonds into the diamond links. First, I'll cut the seats for the stones. I'll use a harper to carve into the prongs themselves. I'll then head on over to that diamond tray and select a diamond. I'll then drop that diamond down into the 6-prong setting. I'll want to make sure it's nice and flat before I tighten down the prongs. I'll tighten down those prongs using flat nose pliers. After I bring the prongs in a bit, I'll tighten down the diamond even more by pressing down with this beading tool. I'll repeat this general process all the way through the bracelet. First laying the stone in, flattening it, using pliers to tighten down the prongs over the diamond, and then finishing with that beading tool. After all the links have been soldered together, attached, all the diamonds have been set, the bracelet is pretty much complete. It's just now time to take it to the polisher and give it that nice, bright look. My favorite polishing tool for this job is definitely going to be this small wheel. The great thing about this little wheel here is I can get down into all the little nooks and crannies around the links, and I can get around the base of the head, pretty much anywhere that a bigger wheel would have a hard time reaching. Now it's time to run the entire bracelet under this final, high-polished buffing wheel. This thing's perfect for bringing out that shine. After the bracelet has been completely polished, I drop it down into my ultrasonic cleaner. I'll let it run for about 10 minutes or so, and then I'll pull it out of the basket. At this point, I'll take it over to the steamer and blast a bunch of steam under the stones and just over the bracelet in general. This will make it nice and clean. And there you have it, a completely restyled bracelet, taking it from an old, outdated tennis style to this new, sleek and modern link style. I'm super happy with how it turned out. Now it's time for the trickiest part of the project, the final step, just putting these little flaps down. These hold it in place while it ships across the country. It's a very hard step. It took me many apprenticeships to get it right. Thanks for watching.